Now the G production class had to make the most of wet racing conditions. Kevin Allen led until lap 3 when Fritz Costly swept by into first. Still in hot pursuit of the new leader, Allen lost it, spun and destroyed his rear suspension. Costly kept the lead until lap 10 when Ken Prather took over in a drag race and held on until 2 laps to go. Then in a daring move, Jeff Winter went 3 wide with the leader in a lap car to take over first. Winter's winning margin of victory over 6 seconds. G production sports car racing right now on Speed. The black number 44 Triumph Spitfire named Truman has been second and third here at the Runoffs, but never to victory lane. 2 years in a row, while leading, driver Kevin Allen became a spectator after mechanical troubles took him out of the race. He'll be back for revenge, looking for his first ever national win. The job won't be easy. 3-time class champion Ken Prather and the beautiful number 26 MG have always been tough to beat. They also led this race a year ago. A third contender for the competition, Chris Krisenberry, a civil engineer from Michigan, will be trying to put together what it takes to get a trip to victory lane himself. After struggling in practice early in the week, he'll be looking to make things better. They aren't the only 3 contenders in this race, however. Let's go to my broadcast partner, Dorsey Schrader.
In G production, you can race a bunch of different cars. Now this car right here, driven by Chris Albin, is a Volkswagen GTI. It's a front-wheel drive car, and should it rain, this car more than likely will be headed toward the front. Now these other cars are something I can tell you about. I know about these cars. This is a Datsun 510. I used to race one. And there's 2 guys here that aren't used to getting beat. Carl McCall, he's gone out this year. He's run 7 races. He's won all 7, undefeated. And next to him, a beautiful 510. Mark Dennis, same thing. He starts out with 5 starts, 5 wins. These guys are undefeated, going head-to-head for the national championship. Let's see what happens.
The Valvoline Runoffs, the SCCA's national championship. The most important race of the year for all of these men in G production and women. The men and women of G production will take to the track here very shortly, and there's very little chance of rain. The skies are friendly over Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course here today, and it is a beautiful late summer afternoon. We're glad that you could join us. I'm Brian Drever with Dorsey Schrader up here in the booth. Chris Neville and Guy Hobbs are downstairs. This is the track that they will face and have fun on.
One of the most beautiful facilities in North America, 2.4 miles in length, 15 corners. It's been said it's like a racetrack around a golf course. That's how pretty it is around here.
A beautiful natural terrain road course upon which will be decided the national championship in this class. Should be a lot of fun, and let's take a look first at our Valvoline starting grid, show you how they'll go. Kevin Allen qualified on the pole next to the MG of Kent Prather. Mark Dennis and Carl McCall make up row number 2. Dr. Mark Iotti in 5th position, and Chris Krisenberry back there in 10th. The rest of the field includes a lot of men who have a lot of experience in this particular class and in SCCA racing in general, and a huge variety of great little cars in which to compete. It should be a lot of fun. Perfect conditions. Even the gravel traps are freshly raked. Let's go down to Chris Neville.
Well, keep an eye on row 4, Jeff Grove. He's making his 2nd attempt at the Runoffs. Last year, he came from 18th to 4th in 3 laps, so he's going to be a hard charger. Now, this is a true family effort. They had some problems earlier in the week. The G production community really got behind him, helped him out, fixed the car. He thinks it's good now, so he's going to be a hard charger. A little bit further up, Guy Hobbs.
Yeah, the big story for this class is going to be the weather and the track conditions. On Thursday, when these guys first went out, the track was very greasy. Then Thursday night, we had a huge rainfall, completely cleaned the track. They went back out on Friday, a totally different track, no rubber laid down. Last night, again, another huge deluge, washed the track off again. And now, it's actually the hottest it's been here all weekend. The sun is shining brightly, and there's been a lot of rubber laid down on this track in the GT2 class that was out just before them. Experience is going to count. Kent Prather has that. He's a 3-time national champion and the only guy in the field today that has won this class before, but that was all the way back in 1995.
Well, the track conditions should be very, very favorable here today. Most of the fastest times came from that 2nd session right after it had rained. So they should be familiar with what they have to race against here today in terms of the racetrack. What about the men and women? We'll watch them go at it here in just a few minutes. Channel's coverage of the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. Pace car is out. Cars are right behind them. The corner workers are getting a little bit goofy here in the late afternoon in mid-Ohio, but they're having fun as they always do. And almost every race car out there carries a little sign on the back that says, "Thanks to the workers. Without them, we couldn't make this happen." So while the cars are circling the track, let's check in downstairs with the guys for some last-minute stories.
Well, your pole sitter, Kevin Allen, now he's had multiple attempts at the Runoffs Championship. However, every time he started from pole, he's had mechanical problems. I talked to Kevin earlier in the week. He said the car's been running great. The only thing that he's really worried about is horsepower. He feels he's lacking some horsepower, but since he's on point, he can hopefully control the race from up there. So watch for Kevin to try and control this thing a little bit more with Guy Hobbs.
Jeff Winter won this race last year, and Carl McCall is now in that car this year. And the thing to watch for Carl is he is going for a triple crown. We haven't given one out yet this weekend.
All right, as the cars then make their way back to the start and get ready to go green, let's take a little bit closer look at just what kind of car makes up the class here as Carl McCall circles the racetrack in his 03 car, an example of one of the unusual automobiles out there. He's driving a Datsun 510, and there's a great variety of cars. All of them have to adhere to these rules, though, Doris.
Right, there's a lot of different cars, but they all basically have a lot of modification done to them. They have to stay in their same sign. So you have some front-wheel drive cars in here. Had it rained, that would have been an advantage. There's not going to be rain, so they're going to have to race it out on the dry, if you will. And that triple crown that Guy was talking about is a divisional championship, followed by a win at Road America on Elkhart June sprints, and then of course to culminate here a national championship. There's only one guy left to do it, I think, at least today, and that's that man right there, Carl McCall.
Carl McCall in the 03 car going for the triple crown, and he'll have a tough job ahead of him. Our onboard camera is going to be carried by Mark Dennis, who's going to start right next to him on row number 2. Mark Dennis driving the CDA machine Nissan 510, so we got a pair of them back there on row number 2. A little bit deeper in the field, kind of a cute story. Starting in 8th is Bill Wessel. That's where he finished last year, so let's say he's picking up where he left off.
Now, all these cars have different size engines. In fact, those two 510s have pretty big stout engines as well as that MGA, so those will be very quick in a straight line. Even though the 510 is pretty much of a brick aerodynamically, it's got a lot of motor in the hood.
Well, Ken Prather's MGA, and it's the only one in the field, is so beautifully prepared. Car's been around for a while. Everybody knows what it looks like, and they know what to expect from that car. We're looking here at the 42 of Bill Wessel. That's the 8th place car that finished in 8th last year. So we'll see if he can move up.
Datsun 1600 Roadster, which they only made for a few years. It's a good little car, though, and that should be very quick, too, in a straight line. Agility, well, Kevin Allen's going to have the most agile car out there with that Spitfire.
Triumph Spitfires, Nissan's up front, Spitfires again. A VW Rabbit in 7th position with Jeff Grove. We go back a little bit deeper. We've got Volkswagen Golfs and even a Suzuki Swift GTI, Fiat X19s. I mean, if you've ever had a favorite little sports car, I'm pretty sure it's included in this class. So you can pick your favorite car, choose a driver that maybe you like or know, and we'll send them off here in just a few moments. All of them behind Kevin Allen. He's up front. You can see Truman written on the right rear of the deck lid there. Truman is the name. He said his wife gave the car, and he looked at her funny and said, Truman. He said it kind of grew on him after a while and stuck. We're under racing green flag, and he's dropping back quick.
Look at the horsepower. I told you about those 510s in that MGA. They just muscled their way. Ken Prather set up a good start right there. I saw him drop back so he could get a run. The two 510s showing their legs now, too. Now, Mr. Allen actually has 3 cars to contend with to try to find a way back.
So our pole sitter drops immediately back to 4th position. And Kevin Allen and Truman have got their work cut out for them, as the two 510s are out in front right now, with Prather in 3rd position in the MGA. So all the big motor cars are leading at the moment. We'll see how it goes. And you picked a fine time to leave me, loose wheel. That's an old cliche, but there's one right there.
Yeah, but who does it belong to? The only one of us knows right now. He's not talking.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too difficult to figure out who's missing a wheel. And it is the 15 cars are lucky winner. John McDonald out of St. Petersburg, Florida. His Triumph Spitfire is now a tricycle.
Yeah, and it doesn't do so good like that.
No, especially the right rear. He might need that one. The 03 is out in front right now. Carl McCall, the man who's looking for that triple crown, is making a race out of it right now. In order to gain the honor, he's being chased by the other 510 of Mark Dennis with our onboard camera.
Well, these cars, short of their aerodynamic downfall, being a brick like they are really good handling cars. Independent 4-wheel suspension and a 1600cc motor gets it down the straightaway well as. But the big motor really is the MGA.
Oh, there's an incident. The 70 car going around of Dr. Mark Iotti and the 7 of Phil Krantz out of Holly, Michigan. So we've taken a couple of cars out temporarily.
Another one off the road on the outside of the exit of the keyhole. Somebody running down through the grass in a sedan there. So a lot of action. I don't know if there may be some oil there or whatever. Two Spitfires tangle, and then further up the road, a little blue car.
So,
of course, yellow is out.
Yeah, the 7 car gets going again as Krantz gets his machine underway, but we're under yellow now at the moment, so that's going to bunch everybody back up again. The first 4 or 5 cars were bunched up anyway going into the keyhole as Kevin Allen had closed the gap behind Prather, who had caught up with the 2 510s as well. So we had a race going there among the first 4. Now they're going to be bunched up even closer than that.
Kevin Allen will be having a word with himself inside his helmet about that start that he didn't do so well there. There's why the full course caution. Of course, we saw that before. The wheel, the right rear, fell off of that car, the 15, and has parked it there, but it's not in a very good spot.
John McDonald has already left the car, and the workers are going to be doing what they can to get it out of what is a very bad position, really, on the outside of that left-hand corner. Cars are returning back to the start-finish line area, having completed only 1 lap, but it is a full lap caution. So the pace car is out and the lights are on. He's picking up the field coming out of turn 1 right now. And with his stylish orange glove signaling that we're going to be cruising around at low speed for a while. So that'll give us a chance to take a commercial break as we watch the loneliest wheel at Mid-Ohio.
Datsun 510 to victory at Road America. His first visit ever there for the June Sprints. Not only that, he is the Rocky Mountain Division champion, and now you come to the runoffs trying to get the Triple Crown. Can you do it?
Yes, I think that we can. I have a great crew chief, I have a great team, and the car's been fast and reliable.
You've been to this track 5 times before, and you mentioned crew chief. Bit of a secret there. Jeff Winter, who is the defending champion in this class, is now your crew chief.
That's right, he is. He's helped me build the car very reliable, very fast, but I don't think I'm going to be able to keep him out of his car next year.
And he is coming back next year, so Carl's going to have to get it done this year.
There is your leader, Carl McCall, as he is out in front right now. Go back to racing, and McCall looking for that Triple Crown, a very elusive prize so far this weekend. As Guy mentioned, we have not given out one of those Triple Crown awards yet this year. And it sounds simple enough. Win your division points championship, win the sprints, and win here, but it's no easy job, quite obviously, since no one has done it.
Particularly when you look at some of the regions in the United States, people down in Florida, the East Coast and the West Coast, wouldn't necessarily go to the June Sprints, being a pretty big tow for a single national weekend.
Kevin Allen, the pole sitter, in 4th position. What happened to him, Chris?
Well, he was worried about horsepower, and that's exactly what happened. He got mobbed by the big horsepower guys. He's not too worried, though. He laid his chips on tire compound this weekend. He went with an intermediate tire where the other guys are on soft tires. So he's hoping around lap 10, they'll start slowing down. He's going to stay consistent and hopefully get back by him.
Well, he's hugged right up in there with him now, but at the end of the straightaway, you can see the result of the big horsepower. As then he closes up late on the brakes with a somewhat lighter car, and Kevin Allen is all over the back of Kent Prather in that very fast MG.
Like Guy Hopp said, this is the hottest it's been all weekend. All the conditions in practice and qualifying were nothing like it is warmth-wise today. It's pretty sunny outside, so if those guys have gone light on compound, it will in fact show up about mid-race.
McCall edging away from Mark Dennis. Those are the first 2, both in Datsun 510s. And then it is Prather in the MG, Kevin Allen in his Triumph Spitfire, and in 5th position it's Jeff Grove in a VW Rabbit. So we've got a great variety of cars up front, and look at all the variety, and look at the battles deep in the field. We go to the 51 car, as he's involved in some activity back there.
SCCA does a pretty good job of making these cars equal, you know, taking away or adding things to make these different types and varieties of cars run at the same speed, and you can see that.
George Bachman there in the 40 car running in 8th position. He just made a pass for 7th on Tom Feller in the number 2. So we've got a couple of guys out there racing MG midgets and Triumph Spitfires against one another.
Oh, good move right there, gets down to the inside. Now if they don't bump here, no, they don't. It's a matter now who can win the drag race.
A little too early in the race for the gentlemanly activity to disband. We expect in the closing laps that they won't be quite as kind to one another.
And that cost him, that little move back there. Didn't give him the exit speed he needed. Now he's getting beat up by the 5 car that went by him.
Chris Krisenberry, who we met at the top of the show, started in 10th position, and he's working his way up. He's into 9th right now.
Oh boy, they're still swapping paint going all the way through the S's. They're still somewhat side by side, not willing to give up yet. But it's cost them track position pretty badly for the guys in front.
A lot of activity back there around Tom Feller in the 2 car. Krisenberry in the 5, running 8th and 9th at the moment. They were both passed by Bachman in the 40 car, who moved up from 8th to 7th.
2 yellow Spitfires, you think they'd be teammates, but I don't somehow think so.
No.
Going at it.
They just bought the same can of paint from 2 different stores.
Yeah, that's right. At least when they hit each other, it won't show you.
There you go. There is an upside to it. We'll find it. You can guarantee that. Carl McCall still leads after 4 complete laps here, working on lap number 5, and number 11, Chris Albin, one of the men that we chose to watch here. He's from Maryland Heights, Missouri, the Hoosier Wheels Volkswagen Golf. Started 11th.
See him hike the wheel up going to the corner, and that's reminiscent of all these front-wheel drives. He'll lay the thing in the corner, back wheel will come up and just stop rotating up in the air there.
With the front 4, you can cover them all with a blanket now, and if Kevin Allen was hoping for tire wear to become an issue, if it has, it's happened early. We got a battle for the lead. Going right around Carl McCall is Mark Dennis on the inside in the keyhole, and now he's stuck out there in the marbles, and everybody's coming past.
Ken Prater got the run in MGA. Watch what happens at the end. He's got big horsepower too, and that shuffled the hand right there, really did.
Here comes McCall back on Kevin Allen, using the horsepower.
Oh man!
And Allen has to tuck into the draft. Says, "Okay, for now you've got me." And we have a new leader, Mark Dennis. He's going to hold off Prather going into turn 6 in the braking zone, and he will remain the leader. So Mark Dennis in the number 80 car, the CDA machine Nissan, out in front right now. McCall still holding off Kevin Allen, but look at this great battle. Allen seesawing by him on that side, but it's the long way around. He's going to have to stay behind.
Never make it unless he can duck in right here. Kevin Allen, if I was him, I'd be bumming right now because these guys in front got a lot of motor.
I doubt if he's bumming, Dorsey. He's racing. He's having a good time. He's doing what you and I wish we were doing. Well, we're doing the next best thing. We're helping you enjoy the runoffs in Mid-Ohio. Valvoline Runoffs, SCCA's national championships, the Olympics of motorsports. Nearly 700 cars came here vying for titles in 24 different classes. You're watching one of the ones we think is going to be the best, G Production, and so far it has delivered. We've had some terrific racing side by side, door to door. No cookie cutter cars in this class, and we're having some fun. Your leader's the man carrying the onboard, Mark Dennis, out in front, and you're riding along with him.
If you had the bumper cam at the back, not at the front, you'd be seeing that MGA right in the tailpipe there. 3-time
champion Kent Prather's last title came in 1995, but he and that venerable MGA have been a fixture in G Production racing in the SCCA's runoffs for quite a few years, and he goes for the lead. On the gas, late on the brakes, dives in and makes a textbook perfect pass in the braking zone.
Now he set that up right. He's got a lot of motor in that car, and he tucked up behind the 510, which opens a big envelope of air for sure, and he just stayed there to the end and popped out. Head looked like about 5 mile an hour or more speed there.
Like driving up behind a drive-in movie screen and pulling out to pass in a stiff headwind.
Guarantee you can't see anything when he's back up underneath.
No, it's like me in a sports car or you driving behind somebody in an SUV almost. But anyway, now Mark Dennis is going to follow Ken Prather, and Prather is not going to return the favor in the way of the draft quite.
I saw a little bit of smoke coming out of Prather's car when you saw that onboard look out the windshield. A lot of smoke rolling out from underneath, but I was looking straight at the windshield. I don't see any drops of oil yet, so that's a good sign.
Let's go down to Guy Hobbs with the crew chief.
With Jeff Winter, actually a bad moment for you, Jeff, because the car's just coming around and you're on the radio to him. Last time by, you said nice and smooth, nice and smooth.
Well, the most important thing at this point is conserving the tires. The car's got a lot of horsepower, but we've got to be careful in the corners. The MGA and the Spitfire are very nimble and they're easy on tires, but our disadvantage is overheating the tires. So at this point, I'm trying to make him conserve his tires.
A long way to go. Long way to go. Did Carl tell you what happened when he went off?
Whoa.
It just ran wide.
No, there was a expletive deleted probably, and that's it.
That's a shame there.
And apparently he just ran into the back of 44, so maybe he'll be on the radio. And 44 has been knocked around. We're going to let Jeff get on the radio here. Jeff, of course, won this event last year, is in to help Carl win. And we mentioned Dorsey, the Triple Crown, and how elusive it's been so far. Well, Carl is the last guy that can win it today, and there are 2 candidates going up for it tomorrow in GT3 and in GT1. We'll see if we can't give one of them away, because at the moment it doesn't look like Carl's going to get it.
Take another look at what happened while we were listening to Jeff Winter.
Well, we have a good battle there. Kevin Allen looking on the outside, but the 510 hits the curb, then bounces off and hits Kevin, spins him around. Now watch this. Bam! Just takes the whole front end and the radiator. Look at the fluid on the wall, on the racetrack right there. His day truly is done. Here's another look from behind. It's not going to be any prettier. I can tell you that. They get through his. See the curb? He hits the curb, bounces off. Doesn't mean to hit the Spitfire, but he hit that curb instead. And then that hit right there was a good one. So the 03 is not going to be in too good a shape. He's out of the car. Everything's fine. He's got the Hans device on. Wasn't a wicked hit as far as to the driver goes, but very vulnerable spot on the race car to get his. It took the radiator out.
Well, it looks like he might be waiting for his opponent to come back around, let him know what he thought about it. Let's go down to Guy Hobbs.
Yeah, Carl just radioed in and says he feels really bad about hitting the 7 car. The 7 car's already been in the pits once and had the front air down pulled off. But also Carl then radioed back in and said, hey, I've got a really bad toe problem. Dorsey, right, so he's got problems with that car now. So Triple Crown looks like it's going to stay in victory lane till tomorrow.
Carl McCall back in 5th position after his run-in with Kevin Allen, and we feel bad for poor Truman. Truman is out of the race. So while we shed a little tear, we'll come back and watch the rest of the race here in Mid-Ohio.
You've probably seen Kevin Allen in the number 44 Dodge Viper. Once again, this weekend, he's in the number 44 car, but this is no Dodge Viper. Kevin showed up with his 1965 Triumph Spitfire. Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about the differences between driving this car and a big Dodge Viper?
Well, I mean, besides the obvious size difference in the 600-something foot-pounds of torque, this car is a great handling car, and it's a lot of fun to drive. The Viper tends to be a bit more of an animal to hold on to. It's you know, sort of like being strapped into a blender sometimes. This is always fun. You know, that's the biggest difference.
Well, Kevin is definitely looking for more of a relaxing weekend at the racetrack, while most of the guys here are looking at this as their biggest weekend of competition.
Dorsey, anything but a relaxing weekend for Kevin Allen just came to an end, and although he looks pretty casual there as he talks to some of his friends about that incident with McCall, take a look again at what happened. I think the biggest problem was McCall hitting the curb.
It was indeed. That was not an intentional bump by any means. He got up in there and got the right side tires on the curb. The car launched right into the side of poor Kevin, and that second hit took the radiator out, and that ends his day, which is a real shame. You know, look at it here. You see it, the curb, the deflection off the curb, then a hit in the side. This is the one that does the coup de grace there. Boom, right on the nose.
Well, Kevin Allen had made an outside move there, but with that little Spitfire, he probably could have held on 2 groups wide and got a run with that 510 down the straightaway. That seemed to be a strategy. What he didn't count on was a slightly airborne 510 coming at him from the passenger side.
Well, the bad news when you're running that game like he was playing there, where he had a better handling car, but not a good straightaway car, is it forces you to be aggressive in cornering and in braking zones. And of course, when you're aggressive in cornering and braking zones, you run the risk of paying the ultimate penalty. And this is exactly what happened, although it wasn't Kevin's fault.
So Kevin Allen's day is over here, and his car is heading off on the hook. Truman is going to the ailing car hospital right now. As
Mark Webber's in the pits.
Mark Webber in the pits also in the 25 car. So attrition already taking its toll here in the G Production National Championship. The 63 Austin Healey Sprite joins Truman in the little car graveyard. G Production's going to get going again here in just a minute with your leader Kent Prather in second place Mark Dennis. Let's get an update about both of them. First from Chris Neville.
Well, Kent is our only past champion in the class, and he had a little bit of a disappointing start. Fell back a couple positions, put his head down, went back to the front. He was running some real hard laps. I talked to his only crew member and his wife. She said he was real quiet on the radio. Finally, he asked how far along they were in the race. Then the full course caution came out. So he was pretty disappointed that he couldn't keep running laps. Full course caution, not the best thing he wanted. A little bit further down the pit lane, Guy Hobbs.
Yeah, Mark Dennis's crew, they're telling him to be smooth, conserve the tires, but their big concern is George Bachman, who runs in third. They think he could be the wild card here, and he doesn't, in fact, own the track record.
On board with Mark Dennis, looking at the back of the MG of Kent Prather as we go back to the green flag here, and now Dennis pulls out of the relatively insignificant draft given out by the MGA, goes side by side into turn number 6, has position for the left-hander. Prather's going to fight him all the way because the next one's a right-hander, and Kent Prather's going to have position the second time around. Little puff of smoke. They're still side by side. Advantage Dennis this time.
Wow, that's some good driving. Each of those drivers gave each other just enough room to make that all work. That was awesome.
Through madness, they call it, as part of the racetrack. That's pretty fun. And Kent Prather comes out on top. There were enough turns that favored his direction where he was able to keep the lead.
You don't see that happen very often where you go through that part of madness, 4 corners side by side. Usually somebody just gets tired of it, leans on you and sends you flying. Not these guys.
Mark Dennis has to be satisfied with second position right now, waiting for another opportunity to use the big power. In third is the man they said they're worried about, or at least Kent Prather is, George Bachman in the number 40 car.
Bachman's got some smoke coming out of the back of his car too on the left side. Don't know if that's where the exhaust pipe is. And looking back now, here comes the 510 having a look. That car, I can't believe, is running that well, because I know it knocked the toe in out pretty heavily when he hit the Spitfire of our Pulsar at Kevin Allen.
Bachman set the track record in competition back in 1998. So that's the record he holds. The SCCA keeps most of their lap records as competition records, although qualifying records are also kept. Behind him, the 42, Bill Wessel. And this is the battle for third and fourth. Up front, Prather and Dennis still going after it. And I've got to wonder here, with 12 laps down, if the tire wear issue was helped a little bit by a couple of laps of caution.
It certainly was, no question about it. It gives those tires time to cool down and harden back up a little bit.
Carl McCall back in the mix here, right in between the two white cars.
The left front wheel, I think he just, whatever that accident was that he had before, there's something underneath the front of that car that is not good. If we'll see that again, the left front tire looked like it was headed to some other racetrack somewhere. Look at it flopping around the front.
Yep.
He's got something broken in the front suspension of that car, and he's soldiering on nonetheless, but that was some pretty ugly looking stuff.
Well, don't tell him he's moved up from 5th to 4th. And setting out after the equally fast car in front of him that's challenging for the lead. He's going to make a pass here on the gas on the 40 of Bachman. And now Bachman holds the inside, has to give it up. If you look out the right side of your car and see that big thing coming at you, I'm reckoning you're pulling off the gas. The right front is definitely dragging or chirping as he gets on the brakes.
And yeah, that's not good, because we talk about tire wear. Well, it really wears if it happens to be towed out like 10 degrees.
Let's take another look at that replay and see what we might be looking at.
He bounced off the curb right here, left front corner. Bam! That is a very hard hit. Again, not only did it take the Spitfire out, but I'm sure it's damaged the 510 from the way we looked at that wheel flopping around up there.
So the right front hit the curb, the left front hit Kevin Allen, and he's got front end problems, at least we think so, but he's still into third position. Whatever's going on, he's driving around it.
He's driving real hard. He got down in the brake zone and locked up that towed out wheel, which of course it's going to do because it's really severely turning to the right where the other one's dead straight ahead. You might see it again down here at the end straightaway. You take a look at the right front wheel, you can see that it's turning right by itself. Even the car's going straight, but that wheel is headed out to the right pretty good. And it'll lock up down here if he brakes real hard.
Well, it's pretty amazing that he fell back that far and is able to come forward that quickly. Dorsey, is that kind of a normal thing? Is that something that's usually done?
Yeah, I'm looking at that thing, and right now it looks like it's under control. But when he hit that curve, see, there it went again. You saw it in a hard braking. That whole wheel moved back and forth a little bit. Something underneath that car is broken. It's somewhat of a dangerous situation because it hasn't let completely go yet. But it's not going to take much.
So Carl McCall, having dispensed with Bachman and moved into third, can he close the gap? It's about 4 seconds to the leader. And we go a little bit further back in the field.
The course marshals out there that are working have a flag for that. If they were to see that wheel doing that, flopping around, they would get on the radio to one another and alert the next one. Look at his wheel, because they have a flag. It's called a meatball flag. And that meatball flag, here comes the car in the pits.
Yeah, 42.
The meatball flag is just a black flag with an orange circle on it, and it will advise him he needs to come in the pits because something's not good on the race car.
Bill Wessel in the 42 car just pulled into the pits in that little Datsun. So he's got mechanical problems and has decided to meatball himself, I guess you would say. Here's McCall again. We continue to watch that car. It only seems to be doing the hucklebuck, you might say, under braking, under hard braking.
guarantee the tires are not liking all that jumping and moving around. That's not good.
Looking under the hood of the 42 car to see if they can analyze some kind of a problem there and perhaps get him back out. But in a short race like this, it's not likely that he'll return to competition. So the day may be done for Bill Wessel, but not for the rest of them. Stay with us. Your leader is Kent Prather out in front, and you're riding with Mark Dennis in second position, trying as hard as you can to close a 1.3-second gap on that white MG. And it is a tall task at this point. Prather gets out in front, and with that much cushion, all he has to do is keep it clean.
And these two guys only know how hard they're using their tires. Nobody knows that but them. And both of them, or at least the MGA, has already been said is false suspect to tire wear.
So Ken Prather, your leader in the white MG, three-time national champion, going for 4. Mark Dennis chasing him pretty hard, and third is still Carl McCall with a very interesting front geometry on that 03 car.
Not a good one. He broke something when he hit that curve right before he hit Kevin Allen. We'll have a replay. I want you to look at the right front wheel as he approaches right here. Watch right there. See that? It's something right there just broke as he hit that thing. Now watch the rest of the thing. Look at it. It's just flopping around in the breeze, and of course he couldn't do anything. He gets inside of Allen, puts him around, and then once again, big hit right there. And it's still going along pretty quickly.
Let's go down to Guy Hobbs.
Yeah, just an update on the Carl. He's going to be fighting his way the rest of the afternoon. As Jeff said, he is a fighter, but he has got a terrible push into right-handers, and Dorsey, it's not good on a track that has about 11 right-hand turns.
That's right. Unless you want to go around the other way, he's in big trouble. What it might do is induce so much heat in the right front tire that it could actually blister the tire, because if he's running a soft compound, it doesn't want a lot of heat, and of course it's scrubbing quite a lot of it.
Going back deep in the field in a race for 12th. This is Daniel Huntsman in the 58 car, the 70 of Dr. Mark Iotti, who we saw earlier in an incident, and he's been able to stay out there on the racetrack, and he's got some racing going on here.
Well, he's trying to fight his way back and doing a pretty good job right there. After that incident, like you said, he had to gather it up, and now he's trying to charge back toward the front.
He was involved with the 7 car earlier, Phil Krantz, as those two Spitfires got together, and you can see some of the damage evident from that set 2.
Yeah, his right rear fender is a little bit askew, and right there you see the smoke coming off the fender as it rubs going through that corner.
Dan Huntsman from Point Reyes, California, in the MG Midget, that red car. They've got a nice little 2-man deal going on here.
Sure
again, it's for 12th place.
And there again, that fender, you can see it, it's rubbing right there. That's what the smoke is. Now these are low-profile tires, and the sidewalls are very, very thin. So if it's rubbing on the tread, he'll be okay. But if it's on that sidewall, it won't take much of that.
Through the chicane, into the keyhole, almost side by side does Dr. Iotti, but he falls in line again and down the straightaway. He'll see if he can get him on the brakes. Meanwhile, we'll go a little further forward to Carl McCall running in 3rd position, just ahead of George Bachman and Jeff Grove. So we've got 3 different cars and 3 very different itineraries here.
I'll tell you what, he's just driving that 510 for all it's worth. With, you know it's not 100%, but this is a national championship. You don't get a second try at it.
And here's another very interesting looking battle, just a little bit in front of the one we saw before. This is for 10th place. The 9 car of Steve Estrada and the 2 car of Tom Feller.
We saw Tom, remember, early on, battling away there with another Spitfire, kind of rubbing paint. Oh, a nice move right there to the inside of the 510. Oh, they're going to touch. Shane touched. Oh, this is going to back. Oh,
he stays off of it. Way to go.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought for sure he was going to hook in there.
Nice job for Steve Estrada, and if he can find reverse, he'll back out onto the track as soon as it's clear and get the thing going again in his Nissan 510. But that was kind of a nice bump and run there. Well, almost nice.
Well, he's inside good. I mean, he's got the line, no question about it. Now they turn for the second apex, and I think Spitfire 2 tries, get on the brakes. You saw the brake smoke, tire smoke, but they touch. 9, a good job of keeping it going. But I just don't think, I don't think that Steve knew he was in there until it was too late. By that time, Tom said, "Okay, I see you don't see me." He got on the brake, tried not to wreck. Too late. It already happened.
Waving yellow over there in the area as the workers come over the tire wall to try to get him back out onto the racetrack.
The good news is it wasn't much of a hit. Neither car will be really affected by it, except the 9, of course, is spun out and has lost a lot of positioning.
Back to that battle for third, and Carl McCall, as he's weevil-wobbling going into the heartbreaking turn there, he's doing a terrific job of driving around what appears to be a seriously compromised front suspension.
Well, at least now his left front fender is loose too, so it's wobbling at the same rate as the wheel. Doesn't look quite as bad.
Well, he doesn't like the setup near as much the way he adjusted it on that curve as he did when he started the race, but he's still doing a pretty good job. You're on board with Mark Dennis, and the MG of Kent Prather is disappearing into the distance, 2.3 seconds ahead right now. And there is his wife watching with some nervousness.
Oh, lap traffic now.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to slow him up. That's going to slow him up a lot.
Prather's going to get slowed up a little bit by the 14 car of Eric Hesko out of Colorado, but he gets by, keeps on going. His wife says good job and hits the stopwatch one more time. Inside 2 laps to go is Kent Prather, and he's got Mark Dennis all over him as traffic definitely worked to the advantage of Mark Dennis, who was able to get by it on the straightaway, whereas Prather ran into him coming out of the final corner. So now that MG is a little bit bigger.
Well, that's the Mid-Ohio curse. You catch somebody like that at the wrong place, and there's nothing you can do. Right there, boy, these guys deep in the brake zone. Not worrying about tires now. This is a outright sprint race. Look at the 510 closing in now.
Closing right up on Kent Prather. Prather, whose car pumps a little smoke here and there as he gets off the gas, and now Mark Dennis is right behind him. Prather knows it. You can see the mirror. And Kent Prather's coming up on a little bit more lap traffic in the Essex.
Another place where it's really a bad place to catch a slow car is right here, headed up toward 13. I think that's good. The back marker moves over, lets both guys go. That's good, clean driving.
Let's go down to Guy Hobbs.
Yeah, we're with the crew of Mark Dennis and getting very close, helped by a little bit by traffic. Can you get him?
We're trying. Prather's been around for a long time. He knows how to work the traffic, but we're hoping that it falls our way.
All right, just 2 laps remaining. Good luck.
Thank you.
Dr. Mark, he's gotten by and he's setting sail now, so that car running real well still.
Running up in 11th spot now. He had been 12th, so his battle for position has come to the way he liked it to be. Oh, whoa! McCall with another incident, this time with the car of Grove. That's the Volkswagen.
And somebody's body piece went flying off there. I don't know which car it was.
I think it might have been off of McCall's car, because it was pretty loose and flapping there for a while. Let's see when he comes up. His car still looks fairly intact. He's got some loose body work on the left front. Let's take another look.
Well, here's the Volkswagen GT. Oh, inside, lots of brake. Stuff's it inside. They're going to touch here. I just don't know where that body work came from. Let's see what happens. There it goes. There it goes.
Yep.
Something.
Bumper cover off the back, I believe, of McCall's car. That's why we couldn't see it. And anyway,
they're in traffic.
Yep, Grove in traffic now as he's taken over the position.
And they bumped. Grove's going to be in trouble on this run right here because it slowed down his momentum. So watch McCall up the straightaway here.
Yep, McCall takes the spot pretty easily there as traffic played its way in favor of Carl McCall. So he's back up into the bronze medal position. Your leader, Kent Prather, on the final lap of the race, has got Mark Dennis all over him in a couple of spots here.
Boy, they're not close enough. He's not close enough to really attack at all.
It's going to take a mistake by the leader for Mark Dennis to be able to capitalize, and Kent Prather is such a great veteran, not likely to make any mistakes.
There's his wife.
Oh, yeah, and you can tell the anticipation. It's not over till it's over. She wants to see those checkered flags waving, and she wants him to wave for her husband first. As one little final puff of smoke, he gets on the gas, up the hill, across the finish line, and Kent Prather has earned his 4th national championship title 7 years after the 3rd one, and that was a very, very satisfying victory, we would have to believe, for Kent Prather, holding off all of the attacks of Mark Dennis, of Carl McCall, and even of Kevin Allen. McCall's not done with it. And he is all over the racetrack. It ain't pretty, but it's good enough for a bronze medal for Carl McCall. No triple crown, but he'll finish 3rd.
Look at that car. The front of that car says it all. It's just beat to death.
Kent Prather's MG has survived another national championship. I'm sure he'll bring it back next year to defend. He is the 2002 Jeep Production National Champion one more time.
He drove that race absolutely textbook. Once he got in the lead, you didn't see him slide the car or anything. He served his tires, saved him. He had to start it with speed, but we always knew that about that car.
Mark Dennis got a break in the closing laps with traffic, just couldn't quite capitalize. Prather was equal to all of the attacks that were made against him by 3 or 4 different drivers. He took the lead at one point in the race and never gave it up, and now he's thanking all the workers for the hard work, and they had some hard work in this race.
And look at Mark Dennis in second. Look how happy he is too. He's waving all the corner workers. He's just ecstatic with his second place, and deservedly so.
Carl McCall may be calling for a wrecker. I don't know if that car will make another lap.
Well, he might not. Look at the corner workers, all of them coming out there.
Oh yeah,
there you go. That's what you like to see. That's a good sign.
A wonderful job done by all the workers here at the SCCA's National Championships. The Valvoline runoffs aren't over yet for them. We've got a lot more racing coming up in the weekend, but the Jeep production class is done. We'll be back. Speed Channel's coverage of the SCCA Valvoline runoffs is brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. Our top 10, a pretty eventful day. Chris Chrisenberry coming up from 10th to 6th. Nice job. George Bachman's attack didn't really materialize. Grove was gotten the better of by McCall in the closing lap, and John Snow rounds out the top 10, while Kent Prather takes home a championship. We're going to hear from him first, and let's go downstairs now to Guy Hobbs.
Yeah, Kent's just come into the victory lane here. Kent, at the top of the show, we talked about how experience was going to be important, especially with these track conditions. It certainly came through today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We knew this was going to be a really strong race. Those 510s that they just brought into the class are really fast. We've had all these production cars like this, MGs, Spitfires, etc., and they brought some tin tops in, and thank God for them. Our classes are really good. Look at that kind of racing.
What happened at the start there? You obviously started on the front row, but quickly dropped back.
Well, the 510s are making a lot of power, so they both passed me going down into the braking area in the back, and Kevin Allen behind me dogging me in every corner. And I just waited because I think I could probably burn off their tires, and finally I did burn one of them off and get him behind me and the Spitfire, which was good. And then I got the other one going and got his tires hot, got around him in the braking zone, and then they had to catch me.
Now, how about the lead change? That one was a pretty important one too.
Well, the lead change, I got it under braking. I'm a little bit lighter than the Datsuns, and I've got really good brakes, and this car handles really well. Been developing this car now for almost 40 years. This is my 18th runoffs. When you talk about experience, I've got a lot of experience in this car and a lot of experience in G production, and this is a really good race.
Well, congratulations to you. You won your first one in '86, waited 4 more years to get it in 1990, then another 5 years till 1995. This time it's been 7 years. Kent's got his 4th national title. Chris?
Well, I'm back here with Mark Dennis, and Mark, 3rd. You popped up to 1st early on. You're pretty excited about 2nd place.
Excited about 2nd place. It was a great race. I had a lot of fun. It was clean. Goodyear tires were great. It was awesome. I could not be happier.
Seems like you probably had something there for him at the end. If it was a couple more laps, do you think you could have gotten it?
Prather handles real well on the backside of the course. We're about equal horsepower, but man, does that car stick to the asphalt on the backside, and I really couldn't hang back there. But let's
back upstairs.
All right, well, Dorsey Schrader, that was certainly a very entertaining race, and while the first 2 stayed pretty much out of trouble, it was not that way for everybody else. As we take a look at the results for everyone, I'd love to hear what you thought about it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
That was a great race, and it was exactly indicative of what Jeep production is usually like. Like you said, the 510s weren't there last year. They added a bunch to this race, no question.
Boy, they sure did. Tin tops, I love it. What Kent Prather calls them that. He means the sedans. Dorsey Schrader calls them bricks.
Yeah, that's a
But
brick.
they added a lot to the race, for sure. And we look forward to future installments of G production. Let's go downstairs now to Chris Neville with 3rd place. We're loving to hear what he has to say.
Back here, 3rd place, Carl McCall. Carl, you jumped out, you got the early lead. It looked like you got pushed around out there quite a bit.
There was a little bit of shoving in the beginning of the race, but, you know, that's just race, and I really feel bad about Kevin Allen. You know, I got a little wide in 2, which put me on the inside, but slower going into 3, into keyhole. And he tried to go around the outside, and you know, I just couldn't avoid getting into him, and there was no racing room, and it's a big fat car, and it won't hold that tight line.
Good job. Back up to you guys.
All right, Carl McCall there getting his bronze medal. So while Kent Prather takes the victory lap of honor, the medals are being handed out down on pit road, and I think everybody should get one when they come to the SCCA Valvoline runoffs. We might even give a medal to that loose wheel right there. How about it?
There's a spare for somebody, a good one, if they can just go find it.
And the worst incident of the race turned out to be okay for the race car driver. The wife of the winner celebrating the victory that they will share for the rest of this year. My thanks to Guy Hobbs and Chris Neville down on pit road, to Dorsey Schrader up here in the booth, and as always to you for joining us. I'm Brian Drever. See you next time.